morning, everyone.
Good morning, Shauna.
Awesome. Okay, so this morning we passed out a sheet, and you all had the chance to do a brain teaser as a group, and we're going to go around and make sure that everyone see what you all came up with in the course of finding out what they are. So, what did we come up with? Number one. Who had number one? What you say?
On top of the world.
We got hand on top of the world.
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 Feeling on top of the world.
Feeling on top of the world.
I like that.
That is it. That is it. Because you got the hand that's on top of the world, and it's feeling. You see how it's feeling? Feeling. So go and jot that down. Feeling on top of the world. Give them snap, snap. Yes, that was good. Good. Okay, number two. What was number two? To a point. Yes. To a point. Snap. Yes. Yes. Okay, number three. Top secret. Yes. Okay, what's next?
Bigger
than.
Period, boo. I love it. What's five?
Small print.
Yes. Yes. Small print. Yeah. Yeah. A lot when we're looking at everything. Okay. Number six.
Red earring.
Yes, hearing. Yes.
It's a fish. It's a fish.
Huh?
It's a fish. A red herring is a fish.
It's a fish.
It's a fish. Yeah.
Okay, good. Awesome. Okay, what's the next one?
For instance.
Good. Okay, what's number 8?
2
Oh my goodness. 220 for 4 words. You know, like four words. So, yeah, good. Okay, what's number 9? 1 out
Back
of
to
2.
square one.
Back to square one.
Good. This man, she part of the pack. I got that too. It's the back of the tooth.
Okay, we got one more. Okay, what's the next one? The last one, number 10.
Once in a blue moon.
Once in a blue moon. Give yourself some
Y'all
stuff. I mean, y'all are really smart, you know. And I would look at these every time I seen it. It was so hard for me to understand these. Brain teasers just was not my thing. But as we move forward, that's just something that we could do on a daily basis, is do some brain teasers. And those, y'all can hold on to them. Just get rid of them. It's something you could take with you. So, one of the things that I want to say is that I need everybody to stand up on your feet. Yes. Stand up on your feet. Yes. Everybody hands up. Come on. We gonna clap like counterclockwise. Ready and go. All right, back up to the top. Now let's go clockwise. Ready and go. Make that tight scalp flexible. All right. Now we're going to take our client to the chair and we're going to blow dry. Ready and go. Get your round brushes. Rock and roll. snaps in it. Let's put some snaps in it. Yeah. I'm using just went away. All right, so now we're gonna go in and we're gonna flat iron some hair. Ready? Get your comb and your flat iron. Let's go. Silk that hair. Press that hair. Get that hair nice and smooth. Get that hair nice and smooth. Wrap. And comb. And silk. Comb. And silk. All right. So now we're going to do a 180 haircut. We're going to pull all that hair up top. And we're going to point cut. And we're going to let them layers fall. Ready? And go. Comb that hair on up. In a ponytail. All right. Twist. Take it and twist. Let's do something special. Let's twist that hair. Twist that hair. Twist.
Oh.
Twist that hair. Now come on. Let's go and point cut. Point cut. Point cut. All right. Now let some layers fall. All right. Give yourself some snaps now. Good deal. Good deal. These energizers, things that help to get the blood circulation. You might need a knife. Blood circulation, get that blood circulation flowing, and it's going to be a great day. A lot of times when you all are experiencing a very dynamic, overwhelming day, and sometimes you get nervous, I want you all to take into consider. I want you all to take in, see, look at it. It came pop right on. After we finish. It just popped on right after we finish. How about that? So getting that blood circulation, getting that blood flowing is always going to be a aha when you're working in a salon environment, because it helps to break up that frustration that you might be feeling. Or you could be agitated, you could be nervous, you could be overwhelmed, just so you could help to relax. And coping skills also help you, especially when we're talking about hair coloring, and you got clients that come in and they have like a corrective color, they got like 3 or 4 colors in their head, and you're like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Yeah. And you're panting, freaking out, you know, so these are times when we want to make sure that we have coping skills, that we are energized and energetic, so we can do exercise, doing brain teasers. You know, hey, laughter is a learning matter. So sometimes just laughing really helps you. Okay, so what I want you all to keep in mind is making sure that you command your day. Every morning, get up in the shower, sing in the shower, use that shower head like a microphone, and just go in and sing. You know, that girl sang. Now, you know, when Fantasia was on, when she first came about, what was that, America Got Talent? Is that what it was? American Idol, that's what it was. And when she got on that stage, you know, it was like, oh my God, that girl sang, didn't she? You know, so that's what I want you all to keep in mind. We have to be able to stay creative. That's what keeps those adrenaline flowing and them endorphins, you know, and we just got to laugh. We got to do some exciting things. Huh?
No, I think you should elaborate on that word, the term, because everybody don't know what that means.
What, endorphins? Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's good. How about that? So when we're looking at endorphins, give her snaps. When we're looking at endorphins, these here is what's in us, you know, like in our blood and nerves and stuff. So what sparks that and give it like a good, allow you to get more energetic and allow a lot of toxins to eliminate from your body. So it's like the endorphins. So this is just a practical. Me just beginning to just start laughing. It sets off what is in my brain, a spontaneous approach to all of these wonderful, good
elements that allow you to just be really nice, free. You don't feel like you have fear attached to you. You don't feel, like the care of the world. And also, it's illuminating. It just really helps to make you have a liberating, a free day. So even when you just stand up, start laughing when you wake up in the morning, then you allow those endorphins to be released that allow you to have a free, liberated, it takes you away from life problems. So that's something to consider and keep that in mind as you all begin to, learn how to have practical things that operate in your life as a cosmetologist. We do serve the community and we serve people all the time. And because we serve people all the time, we have a feeling of not for ourselves. We don't give ourselves what we deserve, okay? A lot of times when I have fear grip me, and I love my endorphins. I love to just laugh. Y'all see me all day long. I'm finna set it off. If something is going opposite of the way that I want it to go, I want to be able to create. So I love every time I see a big hill. This is me. I don't know about y'all. Every time I see a big hill, I stop my vehicle, don't care what I got on, and I go roll down the hill. So it's like, and I laugh. I just be explosively laughing because it's a big hill. And when I was a child, we used to always go to Art Hill in wintertime and do the sledding and all of those great things. And I thought it was so fun. But anytime I feel like fear is gripping me, and if y'all ever see a lady just, rolling down the hill, say, that's Miss Shauna. Say, that is Miss Shauna rolling down the hill. Y'all gonna see somebody recording me and put it on Facebook. Look at this crazy lady rolling down the hill. But I enjoy it because I understand that even with laughter is a learning matter. They have laughing yogas classes that you could go to, and all they do is laugh. Guess what it helps? It helps to reduce wrinkles, and also it helps to remove inches too. Guess what? You're working your core muscles to laugh, so therefore you working muscles that you never worked before. How many of y'all ever laughed so hard where you just couldn't stop, your stomach start hurting? Everybody been acquainted with tears coming out your eyes. You lifting up Botox all day long. That's a natural Botox, so you can't go wrong. All right, we fight against gravity. So what fights against gravity? Laughter, okay? So keep those things in mind. Now, back to our subject. This here is some things that we're going to be talking about in our lesson on today. A lot of you all have packets, and your packets that you have, it is a follow along. So with you following along with your packet, need everybody to pull it out.
God bless you.
Thank you.
That's the packet. Just give me a minute. Let me find my slides. Okay, here we are. Okay, so when we're looking at hair coloring, and hair coloring is the chapter that we're on. You know, this is amazing. My clicker battery is dead. I don't know how they go dead so fast. Okay, I'm not gonna worry about it. I'll just be clicky clicky. I thought it was working though. All right, so let's take a look here at this subject. For a inspirational quote, I have the only thing that matters, the only thing that makes life possible is permanent, intolerable uncertainties. So not knowing what comes next. So it's like when you're thinking about it, and like I say, only the educated are free. And also, if you are asked, can you do a job? Tell them certainly I can, and get about figuring out how to do it. And also, it said it's better to ask twice than to go wrong once. So these things that we're keeping in mind that helps to govern us as stylists. So as we look at a motivational factor in the process, did you know, this is our motivation why, and I'm gonna read this to you. Did you know that qualified hair colorists make more money in our industry or more demand than any other specialist on the field of cosmetology? It's also been determined that 7 out of 10 professional claims that of all the services they provide, they are least comfortable with hair coloring. Hopefully, as you study this unit of hair coloring, you will be able to overcome any fears of hair coloring and be able to face these services with enthusiasm and excitement over the money that you will earn. And in the process of you learning, you're going to do what, everyone? Earn. Everybody together? Earn. Yes. So think also about how much more detail a client's face has after after the hair has been colored. So we're looking at the details of the face. Also, when we're talking about the eyes standing out more, the cheekbones are more defiant, and also the complexion appears more radiant. That is a lot to become enthused about. When you're seeing your client and her face lights up and you're going with the structure of her face, we're talking about people that have a long hair, and people are loving their inches today. But when we have all these inches, it makes them look what? Kind of like muted out, like you can't see their face structure. You can't really see no definite qualities of their face, whether if it's the cheeks, the eyes, you know, or how beautiful the face is. So when it like kind of drags the face down, you know, we want to help to brighten that face up. So therefore, we go in and we take and lighten up around the hairline that creates brightness that allow you to see what? More of her face where she doesn't look like Cousin It, okay? Because she's loving her inches, and we want to keep that in mind. So when we're looking at hair coloring, is a logical and systematic performance. So when we're seeing the trials and errors, processing, even though was considered to have been mostly in the past, it is both the science and the art, and fine-tuning our skills, performing this service is with credible, also with clarity, and will serve you well as a professional cosmetologist. Hair coloring includes the process of depositing hair color on natural color hair, also depositing color on previously colored hair, depositing color on pre-lightened hair, and also lighten and depositing color in a one step. So as we look at hair lightening and decolorizing, diffusing the natural artificial color of the hair, the process involves decolorizing the natural pigment to prepare the hair for fine color and decolorizing natural or artificial pigment to a desired color. Statistics shows that clients who only receive haircuts from the stylist stays with their stylist for an average of 2 years, while clients who receive color service stay with their clients for 8 years. That's something. Loyal clients mean higher income. Do y'all agree?
Yes.
So before you can begin your skill practice, however, it's important for you to understand some underlying principles for the color wheel, color theory, and also the color levels. So as we see in our chapter, and we're taking a look at some of our learning objectives, and the learning objective is list reasons why people color their hair, explain how hair porosity affects hair color, understanding the types of melanin found in hair, define and identify levels and their roles in formulating hair color, identify primary, secondary, tertiary colors, know what roles, tones, and intensity plays in hair color, and list and describe the categories of the hair color. As we explain the roles of hydrogen peroxide in hair color formulas, explain the actions of the hair lighteners. List 5 key questions to ask when formulating hair color. Understand why a patch test is useful in hair coloring. Define what a preliminary strand test is and why it is used. List and describe the procedures for a version single process hair color service. Understand 2 processes involving in double processing color. Describe the various forms of hair lightener and also understand the purpose and use of toners. Name and describe the 3 most common use methods for highlighting. And as we look, know how to properly cover gray hair, and to know the rules of color correction, and know safety precautions or the following, which during the hair color process. So these are things that we're looking at, that we're going to be discovering in this chapter. And as we continue, and everybody have your packet, I just want you all to follow along. There is a fill in the blank, and with that fill in the blank, we'll go through. So why study hair coloring? Well, hair color service also provides stylists and clients with the opportunity for creative expression and artistry. Clients increase asking for required excellent hair coloring services to cover gray hair, to enhance the haircut, and camouflage facial shapes for imperfections. Hair coloring products employ strong chemical ingredients to accomplish services. So being aware of what these chemicals are and how they work enables you safely provides color service for your client. And as an introduction, as we see it, we're seeing one of the most creative challenges and inspiring salon service in hair coloring due to its popularity. It also has a potential for being one of the most lucrative areas in which a hair stylist can choose to work. So nearly all adults, not some adults, not just men, not just women, and I was looking out here, just people watching yesterday. And in the process of me people watching on yesterday, I ran across a young lady. She had to been about 7 or 8, and she had hair color. So therefore, we just don't see just adults that are indulging in hair color, but we have children that indulge in hair color as well. My son was like maybe 9, and he has like a little bob afro, and I bleach his hair all the time. And so he loves his hair bleached, and I just, he just walk around with bleached hair. And it's just really, the younger generation is cultivating color because it's self-expression. So when we're seeing, anyway, the young girl, she had dreadlocks, or locks, let me call them locks because some people get offended with dreads. So she had locks in her hair, and with her locks, they were purple, pink, she had all kind of colors, which I thought was dynamic, and it was just really cute, and she was just the cutest thing I've seen. But when I look, and I'm looking at enhancing hair color, and also clients who have their hair color usually visit the salon every 3 to 12 weeks. Now, when we have clients that visit the salon every 3 to 12 weeks for hair color, how much money you think you're gonna make? Somebody said a lot of money. So saying that you had a client that comes in and then she's getting a retouch, how much would you charge for that retouch? $75? Is that considered the style, or is just the hair color? That's everything. It'll be $75. So for them to get a retouch and to get their hair styled, you'll charge $75. Depending on how much?
The
What?
style.
The style.
It was started 75, probably over 95.
Okay, so you'll start at 75 and
We'll
go
go over
and
95.
take it on up to 95. Okay, that's good. Depending on the length.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Awesome. Someone else,
Or they gonna cut it.
or if they getting it cut. Okay.
Yeah. Or
So
curls.
there are a lot of factors that play a role in it. For the yeah, so when we're looking at some of the different services that we provide, we'll say that starting off at 75. Somebody else, have y'all taken consideration to find out what your prices will be for services? For just coloring, and you got a client coming in. I want you all to, I think I'm gonna do that for homework. I want you all to come up with, for services, hair color services, and we'll have that next week. It'll be due next Tuesday. So I want you all to find out the services of dealing with hair color and what would entail for that. So take and write that down.
One more time.
Yes, you have to come up with a price list on your color services. And then you gotta tell me what products would you retail to your clients for home care, maintenance. Well, that's your homework. You're gonna have to look it up.
You said, and what retail services?
Yes, what products would you, retail so they can maintain their hair color? Maybe you'll have a client that she only comes to get hair color. She just shampoos her hair at home. You gotta come up with the shampoo, the conditioner, whether if it's going to be color conditioners, color shampoos. Maybe she swims and she got blonde hair, and now her hair got all these funky colors in it, green looking and real ashy, and she wants to help to make that a little bit more brighter, or to so you got to make sure. No, she wouldn't be able to use a toner. That's your job. But when we're talking about like shampoos, we're thinking about color shampoos, color conditioners. Would she need a cleanser to cleanse her hair? So also we sell rinses. We're going to be discussing a lot of these things, but you're going to have to I'm gonna get y'all brain stimulated in the process. Okay, now when I introduce products to you, you'll know. Okay, but I want you all to get that brain teasers. Yes.
What did you say after? I just had to come up with the price.
Yes, and retail. And what you will retail.
Retail.
Yeah. Products.
Retail home maintenance.
Yeah, retail home maintenance. Yes. Okay, and that'll be due on Tuesday, so make sure y'all jot it down, look up, y'all Google everything, so I want you all to take the time to Google and put in there, okay, hair color, products, and click on it and see what pops up, okay? Google images, you could go to, we use Wella Professionals. So with us using Wella Professionals, you could go on to Wella, W-E-L-L-A, Wella Professionals. You could go onto their site, and you could go into the app store on your phone and download Wella. There are a lot of videos that come with Wella, and you can look at a lot of these icons that are out here doing and performing services that we can mimic and do. All right, so as we see, so we just gonna do a little project really quickly. This activity that we're gonna do is, I need to know how many of you all ever colored hair or had hair color services by the showing of hands. Raise your hands if you ever had hair color on your natural hair color, or maybe you've done hair color on somebody. Okay, so with all of that being, what are some of the various answers, like when we were considering what was the reason why you colored your hair or you coloring someone else's hair?
A different look.
For a different look, bring out the personality.
Well, it wasn't somebody's hair I colored. It was the mannequin here in class. And I think it was just to get me used to doing it, applying it.
Okay.
The color and mixing the color and everything.
Okay, so learning application. Okay.
My hair was too dark, and I wanted it to bring out my skin tone more. I felt like it washed me out.
Yes.
too dark.
So it was too dark. So you wanted to, for lighter, to make it lighter.
Yeah.
Okay. Someone else. Yes, Katrina.
My godmother made me do it. I learned how to do hair, get in hair, put this in there.
You said,
retouch. And I didn't know what I was doing. I still don't know because she had everything mixed up. She's like, put some more in it, put some more in it. I said, no, I'm not licensed. Oh, you're gonna be licensed today. But, and that's what pushed me to be here now, because I don't like when somebody say, oh, just do this, do this, do that. And they'll give me, the detailed steps and why you're doing this. I'm like, why are you doing that? Because it's what I do. I pay for it. I'm like, you know what? Learn. I just, that's the only reason. So I want to learn, like somebody said, boosters and toners. That's like another language to me, so.
Yes, good. Everybody gets snap. Everybody has some great suggestions. So when we're looking at understanding why we color hair, and a lot of you all threw some capturing pieces out there, it is important to understand what motivates people to color hair, and also the information will help determine the products and the hair color services which are appropriate for our clients. And some of the reasons as follows: that we blend gray. Like, we got clients that are here out on the clinic floor when we're working. A lot of them, how many did color gray yesterday? Anyone? Somebody had a client who had gray.
What's her name? Tiante had a lady that had gray.
I think she was fine.
Huh? Yeah, she curled it afterwards. She put up, yeah. She colored it. She touched her roots up.
Yeah, so therefore, when we're looking at a color grade, are we enhancing the pre-existing color? Also, we create a fashion statement, that's self-expression. We correct unwanted tones, and some of you all use that. Also, when we're considering that cause the environment, which comes from exposure to the environment, that's why we help to tone those hair colors, getting rid of unwanted tones from the sun. Also with our tools. A lot of times, even when we're doing drastic colors, and some of these drastic colors that we use are those that make a fashion statement. Have y'all ever encountered, like, when you put the color on and then as soon as you put your flat iron or you flat iron the hair, it start getting lighter? It's like pulling that color out.
That happened yesterday. That happened to me yesterday.
That happened yesterday, so
Yeah,
it's
when
just
I
started
colored her black on top of the gray. It started turning brown.
it started turning brown when you put the heat on it, didn't it?
Why?
Yeah, a lot of times when we're considering, because the heat, it opens up the cuticles of that hair. And with it opening up the cuticles of that hair, I want you all to keep in mind that it will begin to start pulling the color out. It will fade the color a lot faster, depending on the amount of heat. So sometimes it can be, it could work against you or it could work for you. Because if you go in and make the hair too dark, she's like, oh my God, it's too dark. But as soon as you put the heat on it, then it's like, pow, it is right where I want it. Oh my God, what just happened?
But in that case, it was just the opposite because her purpose was to cover up her gray. She didn't want to see no gray.
Yeah.
And it turned it brown, so it's going to fade really quickly.
And it might not, because did you use permanent hair color?
I use permanent hair color, but
Yeah, it won't fade it, but it will just, you know, have a lot more lighter appeal. And when we're looking at white hairs, a person that have gray hair, and if she's dominantly gray, I'm talking like about 75% higher, all the way up to 100%. The color, you thinking about putting black on something, or a natural, let me say a natural level 2 on there, and you take and you put it on that white hair, eventually it's going to do what? It'll mute out in between. Yeah, to have more brown, because if you add white to brown, dark brown hair, what it's going to do? It's going to lighten it up. So when you apply the heat to it, it helps to pull some of those molecules out.
we didn't even have number 2. She gave me number 3.
A number 3?
Lighter.
Yeah.
Lighter, so.
Yeah. And we'll talk about blending grays. So a lot of times when we're dealing with clients, we want to make sure that we blend the gray and not like, so they could stretch the color surface. It doesn't appear really dark, the big strong contrast between black and white. You know, they seeing that real strongly, so you can give them an in-between that they have to stretch it over, and it won't be so, you know, like when their hair, well, I just got a hair color, now look, it's back gray again. It'll have that gradient, is the word that I'm looking for. It'll look more gradient, yes.
So is there a recommended temperature when after coloring the hair that you would use?
Yes, well, products that you would take into consideration will be what we're talking about, like a heat protector. A lot of times when you're priming the hair first before you do hair color, helps to balance out the pH and you know, get that hair nice and sealed. Then we are looking at Well-Aligned, and they have service, and it helps to lock the color in. So these are things that you could utilize to help to keep the color, to sustain the color into the hair.
So the second one you just mentioned, after the heat protector, that's one product to consider. And then you said to prime it. What does it mean to prime?
Yeah.
Okay, well, there are products that are out here that are primed. They have primers in the product line. We don't have it here. It's in the product line. So you, like Wella, they have a primer. You take it, you got amino acids in it, and it helps the hair, so it'll help stabilize, keep the hair together, okay? While you're in the process of coloring hair, and that when we're looking at hair, this is something that we're gonna talk about in just a minute, because we're looking at what hair color mean, and this is something that I want you all to know. So let me take and jot this down really quickly. I want a dark, maybe this will work. Okay, so when we're considering hair coloring, and we look at this word here,
I can't
and
see
then, you can't see it?
I'm blind.
Y'all can't see that brown?
It's real light.
No, it's light.
Mhm.
Well, I don't want light, I want dark. Brown don't work. Let's see. Is that better? Can y'all see that? Okay. Okay, so what I'm writing is hair color. Now, can somebody tell me the difference between the two?
The top one is the natural color,
Yeah.
Okay, what make you say that?
cause it said in our packet.
Okay, so
Refers
if
to the
I,
natural color of the
huh?
hair. I said it says it refers to the natural color of the hair.
Natural
And the hair color is a professional industry coin term referring to the products and services for artificially coloring the hair.
So tell me this, if I erase that and I go up here and put hair color, and then I come down here and write hair color again, is that still the same as what you just told me?
Yeah.
Who said no or yes? Who agreed yes? Raise your hand by showing their hands. It's still the same.
No.
Okay. Who said no?
Because it's flipped.
So that means the bottom one actually be the natural hair color. And the
Right.
top be,
How? I mean, what make you say that?
The
though?
separation between the two words.
The separation between the two words. Give yourself snap. So when we're looking at a separate words, hair color being two words, we know that it's the natural hair color, okay? So anytime that you communicating, even when you all test and go to state board and you're dealing with questions that are situational problems and they utilize this term, you're gonna understand, let me see, because that alarm will go off and say, are they talking about natural hair color, or are they talking about hair color being one word, which is artificial hair color in our industry, when we're taking and coloring somebody's hair with permanent hair color? So therefore, we need to make sure that we understand and know that the two words mean, hair color means what?
Natural.
Natural. And one word, hair color, means what?
Artificial.
Bingo. So you got it. All right. So that's what I want you all to make sure. This means that we are in awareness of what we're talking about. Now, when we're seeing some of the things when it deals with hair factors, everybody say hair facts.
HairFacts.
HairFacts is going to play a tremendous role when we're considering consultation. Everybody, you have your packets with your sheet, and your sheet is a release form. Everybody got one in the beginning? Do y'all have it with you? No?
Yes.
Okay, who said yes?
Yes.
Okay, I gave everybody when you started, and I said that all this information come to school with you on every day. Bring it in.
The package she gave us.
It's a packet, and in that packet is 2 sheets, and it is the form when you're doing chemical service out on the clinic floor. Yes, that is it. Hold that up so everybody can see. So all y'all need to do is just, you're gonna have to take and write some stuff down, okay? On a piece of paper, so that's it. Yes, that is it. Just check your, so I gave everybody one and it has a release form to it.
We was new, I don't know, you got one?
It's right here.
It should be your phone.
With your syllabus.
It's at the back, I just saw it.
Let me make
You saw it in here?
No, it said you, it's on the back of what you got in your hand.
It's behind the syllabus if we paid it at
It's that right there.
Okay, so if we have everything, we brought everything, you all should have it in your packet that I handed to everybody. If not, just take it and jot this information down because we're gonna be dealing with release forms when you're doing consultation with your clients. You all will get one of these sheets and that sheet will be attached to a ticket. And with it being attached to the ticket, then we'll know exactly what to put on the back. We're gonna talk about these things in class, but when we go out on the clinic floor, we're gonna be investigating and looking at our mannequin's head, and we're gonna also go and demonstrate exactly what it is, so you're dealing with application as well. Now, HairFacts, when we're taking consideration of what we see, is the structure of the hair, and the desire determines the hair color and uses. So when we're seeing at the cuticle, the cortex, and the medulla. So the structure of the hair is a desired result that is determined which hair color to use. The hair structure affects the quality and the ultimate success of the hair color service. So some hair color products may cause a dramatic change in the structure of the hair. So while others cause relative and little change. So when we're looking at the cuticle, it is the outer layer of the hair. And y'all got like a little picture that's in your packet. The cuticle is the outer layer of the hair and it contributes 20% of the overall strength. How much percentage?
20%.
20%. The cuticle do not contain any pigment. So your cuticle layers that you have does not contain pigment. So when we're looking at cuticle, and we're seeing that hair strand as a hair, and the outer layer, the outermost layer, it have scales, almost like shingles. They lay flat, and they're like shingles on a roof. And we have layers and layers of them, with layers and layers and layers. Some have more than others. So that contributes the 20% of the overall strength, and also it does not contain any color matter, okay? So it does not have a pigment in it. When we're looking at the cortex, everybody say cortex.
Cortex.
This is the middle layer. It contributes 80% of the overall strength, and also it determines the strength and texture. Everybody say strength and texture.
Strength and texture.
So that's what you need to know. So if I take and I'm just doing it inside like I slice it, and it looks like a cookie. So inside the cortex, which is the middle layer, you have these little round things, almost look like chocolate chip cookies, sporadic, the little Hershey's that are inside of the cookie, and it's what we call color matter. These color granules are called melanin. Now we'll get into what they are because we have two types of melanin. Two types of melanin, so we will be able to discuss that as we move on. When we're talking about texture, everybody say texture.
Texture.
Texture is when we're looking at the cuticle or a hair strand, a single hair strand, and we're looking at layers of cuticles that are laying flat like shingles on a roof, and we have layers. Now, statistics say this through studies, that when we're talking about texture, everybody say texture.
Texture.
You can draw this at the bottom of your sheet. If you take it and flip it over, will be the best place to do it, okay? So texture will be fine, and take it and put it in on the back side of your paper, and where it says texture, you want to put fine. That's the packet that or the client sheet. Your client sheet.
Mine's in my locker.
Okay, it just write it on the side of your packet or on a piece of paper. Okay, so you will see up at the top it says texture doing a scalp analysis. And all you're doing is reading, okay?
Is this supposed to be blank? Are we supposed to get more as we go? Remember, we already filled this out.
It's on the back. You have it already on the back? Okay, good. Well, a lot of you alls are already done, which is fine. You will just follow along. Okay, so it's just there to help to reiterate. Some of you all have already completed this, which is okay. Some of you all are going to have to fill it out as we go. So texture, you're going to put fine, medium, and coarse. Everybody say that with me.
Fine, medium, and coarse.
Okay, so drawing this here picture out, when we say fine, medium, and coarse, we look at the hair cuticles, the layers of hair cuticles that are on the hair. We talking about 1 to 7 cuticle layers. Is in fine. It's almost like Chanel thread. Now, when we're looking at medium, we're talking about 17 cuticle layers that are on a single individual hair. Okay? Shingles on the roof, you got 8 to 17. Now, we say about 18 to 22 cuticle layers that are on coarse hair. So why does this play a tremendous role, Ms. Shauna, in hair coloring? Because it's going to deal with the porosity. Everybody say porosity.
Porosity.
Porosity is that which absorb moisture. So when we're talking about absorbing moisture and we're dealing with porosity and how it accepts and hold moisture, so we're looking at the hair could be porous and accept hair color faster, and then some of it can also help to spew the hair out. So when we're talking about porosity, porosity deals with the processing time. Everybody say processing time.
Processing time.
So if a person that has fine hair versus medium hair versus coarse hair, if I'm taking and I'm putting 10 volume on there, using a permanent hair color and I got 10 volume, do you think that is going to take a longer processing time for the coarser hair versus the medium?
Yeah.
It'll take a longer, yeah.
Which one will be longer?
Of course,
Because it got to do what?
get through the layers.
All those layers, and depending on how many layers that it travels through will determine during processing and how well that hair absorb moisture. Now, when we also talking about, let me change my slide. Need my clicky thing. When we're looking at porosity, this is what I want you to keep in mind on this slide up here. Okay, so we have low porosity. Everybody say low porosity.
Low porosity.
We have average porosity. Everybody put average porosity. And then high porosity. So on that piece of paper, you're going to take in the area where it says porosity, it's going to be low, average, and high. Now, when we're saying low, average, and high, low porosity means resistant. Everybody say resistant.
Resistant.
If the hair is resistant, what we going to do with the processing time?
Lifting it, make it.
It has to go longer, right? So if it's low porosity, and we're gonna do applications because you probably have in mind, Miss Shauna, what's low porosity? What's low porosity? How will I know that her hair is low porosity? Well, we're gonna do a project and we're gonna take a strand of hair that actually sits on top of the water. That means that is it absorbing moisture and it just sits up there, so it'll make it what? High or low? Low. Okay, because it's what? It's resistant to the water. It doesn't want to absorb in the water. So you can take hair strands to determine that. Now, if the hair strand sits in the middle of the water, then it'll be average. Now, saying that the hair strands sink all the way to the bottom immediately, it'll be high porosity. That means that the cuticle is lift and it's quicker to processing time. So it's going to suck it up real quick. How many of you all had pre-lined somebody's hair, and once you pre-line it, then you went in and you put the color on it, and it looked like it's colored. The color, whether if it was purple, whether if it was pink, it just looked at pink, it looked purple, it looked blue. It looked like the color when you first put it on the head, or when you pulled it out the box, or when you put it in your bowl, and it's looking like that color. But as soon as you rinse the hair, now it look faded. It's like, this ain't the color that I thought it was gonna be. That means that the hair is what? High porosity. It's like a sponge. How many of you all wash dishes or wash your car with a sponge with the showing of hand? Raise your hand. With you going in and you use that sponge, you dip that sponge down in that water and you pull that sponge up out the water. What you think's going on? It's leaking. It's like rushing. It's almost like a lot of water pulling off that, it's just running off the sponge. That's what high porosity is like. So that's a concept connector that we think of. High porosity. When I put it on, it's gonna suck it up. It looks like it's colored what I want it to be, and I let it sit. But then once I rinse it out, now it don't look that way. It look blotchy. It all don't have the even of that color, just like that sponge. It had cracks and holes in a sponge. Do you all agree? Have y'all ever seen sponges? They have holes in them. A lot of them we use to take and sponge our hair to create definition of twisties in it. So those holes which are in the cuticle of the hair. So therefore, when I said earlier, we're talking about primers, you want to make sure that you prime that hair. That helps to seal the hair. That helps to keep a protector shield to help that hair from having any type of leakage of color when you're taking and placing that color on.
So primer is a protective shield that, what's the last one?
Helps
locks the color in. Yes. Helps with the pH. Yes. Yes. So therefore, with our naked eye, we can't see holes and crates or in the hair. We can't see the cuticle layers lifted up like an umbrella. You can't see it with the naked eye.
So when we do our strand test and we find out that the hair has a high porosity, then we would want to use a primer because we already know it's gonna go in fast, but it'll come out fast too.
Because you want to make sure that that hair, that it holds it. You know, so when you balance the hair out, then it helps to keep it sealed. And every product has a reason on the reason why you want to use it. Some of them have bond builders to help with damaged hair. Like, we don't want to go in and put hair color on damaged hair. But if you pre-line somebody's hair, and a lot of times when I go in and I pre-line hair, because I know that they get intensive services, we go in, pre-line, and I condition their hair. I strengthen their hair. I put a restore on there before I go in and put the desired color on top of it. Just so I can help to balance out. Because if we started off, the hair was damaged and I bleached it, guess what? Or lighten it is what? Still damaging more. And then we got the nerve to go in and put a color on there and think that it's gonna hold. No, it's not. It's gonna bleed right back out. So now you just wasted product. You got an unsatisfied client because we are not educated on the different products that we have out here on the line. So when we're dealing with the porosity, and this here is the I think it was group number 3 yesterday when we were working on what we know about hair color, what we want to know. So those things that we dealt with on yesterday are playing a role today, because this here is going to make you effective colorist because you understand the blueprint. Okay? So when we're looking at resistant color, high porosity, and also average porosity, which plays a dynamic role, also we're going to talk about density. Everybody say density.
Density.
Do you all see density on your sheet?
Yes.
Okay, so density says the number of hair strands per square inch, refers to the thickness. So that's what density is. It's the number of hair strands per square inch. So let me show y'all what that looks like. I'm gonna remove my cookie. All right, now, if I create a square inch parting on the scalp, this is at the base, foundation, none moving. We're talking about that's where that square is going to be. If I just have hair that I can literally see in between, it's going to be what?
Fine.
Thick or thin?
Thin.
We don't want to mix texture with density because the density is different from the texture. The texture is one hair strand. How many cuticle layers are on one individual hair strand? It could look like a, what's True Religion jeans? Is them the jeans with the thick threads in them?
Yeah.
Stitches in it? Yeah. So y'all know that is like a real thicker thread, right? Okay, and you could see it, right? But you can't see the thread unless you get real close up on it that hems the pants, the stitch that actually hems the pants, right? Or your shirts, or in your jackets, or in your t-shirts that you all are wearing right now. Those are a lot more finer. So that's the difference when we're talking about a single hair strand, okay? You will be able to see horsehair a lot more further away than you would with thin hair, got it? Now, when we're talking about density, we're talking about how many hair strands per square inch. That means how many hair strands are coming out of that one follicle. Have you all ever taken a look at the follicle and seen maybe about 4 or 5 hair strands come out of it? And then in some cases, you might have seen just maybe 1 hair strand. And then what about just 2 hair strands coming out of that one follicle? So if I have 5 hair strands coming out of each follicle in that square inch, that hair is going to be what?
Thick.
Bingo. You ain't going to be able to see in between that hair. That hair going to be so thick, like I can't read between that hair. But if it's just a few hair strands that are in that, that's coming out of that follicle in that square inch, then you can read between it. That means that the hair is what? Thin. So it lets you know your sectioning, subsections. So do I need to take thinner subsections or do I need to take wider subsections? Because when you're going in and you're doing a color retouch, you just end it up at the base. but you making 2-inch partings, subsection partings, and they got thick hair, do you think that all of that hair gonna absorb that product?
No.
No. She gonna have blotches. So y'all see why it matters? I can make wider partings if somebody have thin hair because the product will go through completely. But if it's super thick, is that color gonna cover all of that? And you taking these thick subsections, then you need to take what? What type? If they got real thick hair, you're gonna take what type of thin slices? Is that an aha for some people? I've ran across and I'm looking, I was like, you didn't fully cover the hair. But they thought they did because they was taking these big old chunks. And all we think about, I want to get done. I want to get done. But no, practice makes permanent and perfect practice makes perfect. When I have you all to flat iron and I say take thin sections, why do you think I have you take thin sections? Because I want you to be repetitious. All of it is the same. From if you're doing hair cutting with thick hair, if you're doing hair coloring with thick hair, if you're doing flat iron with somebody with thick hair, we want to make sure we continue to not lose the stuff that we're receiving, okay? So I want you all to keep that in mind when we're talking about the density and the porosity and the texture of that hair. Okay, we good. Okay, real quick. What we're gonna do, we're gonna start wrapping it up real quickly. Let me grab my packet here. Now, with that being, we discussed some things that were concerning with the HairFacts, and I want y'all to take a look at it. And I'm gonna ask you some questions, and then you let me know if you have the answer or not, okay? All right, so the cuticle of the hair protects the interior cortex layer and contributes up to blank percentage of the overall strength.
20%.
20%. Okay, the cortex or middle layer of the hair gives strength and elasticity and contributes about what percentage of the overall strength?
80%.
Good. When we're looking at fine, small hair strands hair texture is determined by the blank of the individual hair strand.
The little fog, what is it? The little, no, she's talking about the little things that she's talking about. Right there. I don't, yeah, you talking about shapes.
So the hair texture, we talking about the hair texture is determined by the blank of the individual strand. Diameter. Okay, and another one. The number of hair strands per square inch of the head most related to the hair what? Density. Okay, permed, colored, chemical relaxed, and straightened hair will have blank degree of porosity. Say it again. High. Then you all hear me when I said that with that hair being pre-lightened, and then it's a chemical that was put on there, and it'll make it more damaging to it, so to have high porosity, you always want to make sure you keep that in mind. Even with heat damage, y'all. Heat damage. If they got heat damage, it's almost like a chemical service too, because it broke the disulfide bond in the hair that cannot be reformed again. Okay? Also, the ability of the hair to absorb moisture is known as what? Porosity. So you are on the same page with me. We will begin to start talking about and identifying the natural hair color and tone. And in that process, we will discover how to identify the natural hair levels and how to identify the natural color of that hair. And then we'll go into the color theory portion, okay? So we're gonna wrap this up and we will continue with this on tomorrow morning. And after that, we will have a clinic floor day. So do y'all think that the hair factors have given you a little bit more eye-open experience for you all?
Yes.
Okay, excellent, great. So what we're gonna do is, did you all take and jot that information down in your packets?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, okay, so we're gonna get ready for break.